What matters are the fears and thoughts we usually keep hidden. Disordinati is where people strip back the layers. My friend Artemis. Hello, Artemis.
Hi, everyone.
We've been friends for a while, and even though we live in different countries, we've been texting a lot all the time. And I was quite worried about her in the recent days because you ended up finding yourself in a war zone in the conflict that started in Iran in 2026. And you were just a tourist coming back from Thailand, and then you ended up being in Doha and were stuck there for many days. That probably felt a long time. So maybe you can start telling us, from the beginning when you departed from a beautiful holiday in Thailand, how did you then, end up in this situation that was quite critical?
Yes, so I started my flight from Bangkok, and I had a transit flight in Doha, and I was going back to Athens, to my hometown. And then, as I was landing actually in Doha, I have no idea what was happening. But when I landed, all the phones started having alarms. I have no idea what they were saying because it was in Arabic.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went to the airport and everything was cancelled. And actually, I asked, and all the flights from the morning were cancelled. So our flight was afternoon landing there. And I checked with the staff, and they said, yeah, there are bombings happening. The airspace is already closed. We don't know what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it is.
What was your first reaction when you heard that there was real war happening and attacks on even sites that were dealing with civilians, and you were sending me videos also of these missiles that you were seeing. So what was your first reaction when you heard these words? Like, how did you take it?
Yeah, I was very shocked because I was just coming from holiday. I had no idea what was happening. So it was
Yeah.
really shocked. But I was actually hopeful that the airspace is going to open because they kept us there for a lot of hours in the airport. So I thought maybe, okay, it's just a short conflict and it's going to go away and maybe I can fly home. This never happened.
Oh God.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. And so you were staying there for hours and hours in the airport, and then finally they decided to tell you that your flight was not happening.
So we were there for 1.5 days, so almost 2 days actually, going from gate to gate, wait.
Inside the airport?
Yes, inside the
Oh my
airport,
God. Okay.
asking the people what's happening, and they said, yeah, maybe we have another update in some hours. So everybody was waiting there.
Yeah.
And they started sending people in hotels after a while, but we were not the first to get a hotel, so we had to stay there like more than a day. To the airport it was
That's
very
crazy.
tiring.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And at some point they had to evacuate the airport because of they had information about some attack that might happen to the airport, so it was crazy evacuation to just get all the people out.
Yeah.
They sent us to a hotel.
Okay. And they send you to a hotel, and how did they arrange, for instance, where you were sleeping? Or yeah, because I assume there were a lot of people and they were trying to do their best to, put
Yes,
everyone in
yes.
safety.
So they send us to random hotels. Me, I was lucky. I found some other Greek people. I was traveling alone back, so I didn't have anyone with
Yeah.
me. So,
God, yeah.
I was actually trying to find some people from my flight from Greece, and I was
Yeah.
lucky. I found some people, and we went all together to the same hotel.
By coincidence. Yeah.
We tried to stay together during the vacation, and then
Yeah.
we told them, okay, we want to go to the same hotel, and they brought us in the same bus and took us to the hotel.
Yeah. So what was once you were in the hotel, no? Probably on the one hand you had a feeling of relief because you thought, okay, at least I'm not, in a target zone, so at least I'm out of the airport. But at the same time, I can also imagine that you were feeling like a lot of uncertainty because no one was, telling you when you would be able to fly back home.
Yeah, it was really stressful time, and also it was very weird because the time seems like it was not passing, so we were all together checking all the time the news, talking with the
Mhm.
embassy, with the hotel, with the airline also.
Yeah.
So it was constant hopeful, and yeah, just we didn't know what to do there.
So in the end, how many days did you end up staying in the hotel?
1 week I
One
stayed.
full week, okay.
Yes.
And in the meantime, when you were staying in the hotel, trying to, understand when and how you would go back home, did it ever like occur to you that you might have to stay longer? And I imagine also, on the one hand, the relief in being with people from your country, but also it must be difficult because you were alone completely.
Mhm.
So you had to sort of, you were stuck with people that you found
Mhm.
at the airport. How was that experience as well, like both the positives and the negatives?
So it was very good actually that I found these people, because we were really supporting and helping each other with information, and also keeping company to each other, even though we're not really compatible or know each other from before.
Mhm.
But yeah, also being alone there, on the other hand, it's really feels very alone if you're in a very stressful and
Yeah,
dangerous situation like this.
yeah, I mean,
Yes. So during the day, I was also spending some time alone, but I was also spending time with the other Greek people that were also in the same situation as me.
just staying inside the hotel, basically.
Yes, we were staying inside the hotel, and we were lucky the hotel was connected to a mall, so
Hmm.
you couldn't go outside. It was not allowed to go outside
Yeah,
because of the situation.
yeah,
But we're in the hotel and maybe walk to the mall to
yeah,
shop something, because we didn't have also our stuff with us. We didn't have a
yeah,
luggage or clothes, so
of
yeah.
course, yeah. And there were a lot of videos on Instagram by different people. Some were saying everything is fine, don't worry, like nothing is happening. This was also especially in other countries. Um, how did you feel about it when, people were making videos? And was your situation similar in the sense that you felt safe in a way, or you were still, panicky and in a sort of survival mode and saying, okay, I don't know what's going to, happen, and I'm stuck here, I don't know how to get back
Mm.
home?
I think at first maybe people were making videos because maybe they thought also it's just something is gonna pass. But as the days were coming by and the situation was escalating all the time, I think they would probably, most of the people, change their mind also there. And
Yeah.
you, of course, you were more safe in a hotel because they don't target civilian buildings or anything like
Hmm.
that. But
Yeah,
even the debris falling from the interceptions are dangerous, and you never know, of course, how this is gonna escalate.
yeah,
So yeah.
absolutely. I mean, it must have been terrifying. And what what was your way of coping with this? Like, how did you cope with stress and anxiety and this constant worry of not knowing what was going to happen?
Uh, I was usually talking with some friends and family back home, so this helped a lot. Also with you, it was really
Yeah.
helpful. Yes, I was trying to, yeah, just keep my mind off things, like do some exercise. Didn't really work, to be honest.
Yeah,
I was just being patient and say,
yeah,
okay, I cannot do anything about the situation. I'm just gonna wait and see
of course.
how it's gonna go.
Um, did you ever think about alternative ways of getting out of the country? I mean, I don't know when you're in that situation, or that maybe something changes inside you and you find a strength to do something that is unexpected according to your normal, personality or
Mhm.
something. Did you ever think, okay, I have to find a way out of here one way or the other?
Mhm. Yeah. So as the days were going by, I was waiting from the embassy to arrange something, but I also started looking myself how to get out of there with a bus. So a lot of people actually couldn't handle the stress and just
Yeah.
took the bus themselves and leave to Saudi Arabia by bus, where the airport was kind of open, not completely, but there were some
Mhm.
flights operating.
Yeah.
So I started looking into this. So I also took a Saudi Arabia visa before the embassy told us anything about leaving.
Yeah.
So I was just preparing because yeah, I didn't want to also get stuck there because, as I said, the situation might get much worse and then you don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like question marks in that
Mhm.
situation. And when you were seeing these missiles flying over the sky, were you ever because there were some attacks close by to actually where you were now in military bases as well.
Yeah.
Were you ever scared that that would escalate and you would find yourself in a much more difficult situation of just being in a hotel, waiting for answers?
Yeah, definitely. I thought about this. So I was thinking, okay, if this escalates, maybe we have to go to the shelters or something, which we didn't have to do. In other hotels closer to the center, they also did that.
Hmm.
But I was thinking that maybe the situation gets much worse, so that's why I was thinking of alternatives of actually leaving the country
Yeah.
as soon as possible.
Did it change your perception of how lucky we are when we are living, for instance, in places like Europe where this is not happening, and
Yeah,
it's not affecting us directly?
yeah, definitely. And also how easy you can be in a situation like this, even if you're not in a country, but how easily your like life can change from one second to another, and you end up in a completely different reality, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, like find yourself in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting because when people go on holidays in countries that are far away from their home, they travel, hours and hours, um, and then there is this layover, and you think, okay, this is just one pit stop, and
Mhm.
I don't have to deal with anything that is actually happening in this country. And then, though you're affected by something much bigger that is happening, at a different geopolitical level. Um, what was your relationship to the people around you in that moment, when you had to be a team basically, and I don't know if this thought popped into your mind of saying, okay, if 5 people of this group go and take the bus, then I might join them, or if they all stay here, then maybe it's best for me as well. So how did this peer influence sort of motivate your decision to stay in a place where you would see the missiles flying over your head every day?
Yeah, so definitely I think it was safer for me to stay with other people and at least for some days because I think we had a better chance of actually the embassy and the Greek government doing something if a lot of people are together.
Yeah.
That's why I stayed there also with them.
Hmm.
But if the days were passing even more, I would, as I said, leave alone. So actually, a Greek guy left one day before we all left
Okay.
together because he
Okay.
was also very stressed. So he
Yeah.
took the bus and went to Saudi Arabia.
Okay. Which
Yes.
is also, I guess, a risky choice because you never know
Yeah.
what's going to happen.
Yeah, it
um
is. Really.
yeah, 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 I can imagine. And in the meantime, while normal life was happening basically back home, I can imagine that your parents and people who care about you were very worried about you. How did this situation, were they trying to, keep you distracted, or how was this interaction going?
Yeah. So my family and some of my friends were really worried. My mom was, yes, very stressed, and she was calling the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, calling a lot of people, trying to get
Yeah.
answers, like pressure them to do something basically. My dad, on the other hand, was trying to distract me, so he was trying to give me work to do, but
Yeah,
I couldn't really concentrate, unfortunately.
of
But yeah, they were
course.
trying to help in whatever way they could
Yeah.
with
I
them.
guess I guess you need both sides in a way to have a reality check on the one hand, and but also like a distraction. And I think people who did a lot of meditation and a lot of internal balance work probably had an advantage in trying to
Mhm.
manage the situation with calmness. Although you never know, when you're finding yourself in a situation like this, how you're going to react.
Yeah.
um, how was also one thing that I'm interested in is what the locals were saying.
The locals, you mean the people in the hotel?
Yeah,
The
the people living in Doha, and if you met some, I don't know, because probably you went from airport to hotel, so
Yes,
I'm not
I
sure. But
was in the hotel, so I met the people there and also the people from the airline that were coming every day for updates.
yeah,
They were also very scared. So I talked to them and they said, yeah, we're also very scared. We never seen such an escalated situation
yeah,
here.
yeah,
But they trust the government and said, okay, probably it's
mm,
gonna be okay, don't worry. And
yeah.
they were really kind and very helpful, actually, the local people
Mm.
there.
That's really good. And it's interesting that you say that they really trusted the government,
Mhm.
because I do believe that maybe Italians and Greek people don't have the same relationship
Yeah,
to
we
their
didn't know
government.
yet.
So it's kind of reassuring and maybe helpful to have a government that you trust,
Mhm.
because then
Yeah.
you keep your cool even in these sort of situations. Um, do you feel like something changed in you now that you had this experience, or because I imagine maybe did you discover some parts of you that went to the maximum, like I don't know, your anxiety, or on the other hand you were like, okay, I can see that I can manage some of this,
Mhm.
and you were surprised by how you handled it.
Yes, definitely. It's a very different experience and unique. So on the one hand, I was very stressed and anxious, but on the other hand, you can basically discover how much strength and how many situations you can manage one way or another.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting. I still need some time to process the whole days because I was a bit in a survival mode, so not really processing anything that was happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But definitely, it was also a useful experience for me.
Yeah, it's I can imagine quite a shock.
Yeah.
Um, I remember texting you all the time, and I'm quite the anxious type, but I was, keeping my cool on this side of the world and trying to say, no worries, nothing that is going to happen, and you're going to be fine. And worst comes to worst, you're going to come back in a military airplane, And
Yeah.
I was jokingly saying this, and
Yes.
then
I
it
remember.
actually happened.
Yes.
So I received a text from you with a selfie on this plane. Do you want to tell us like how was that experience, and yeah, all your feelings, and also in practical terms, how this plane is, and yeah,
Mhm. So we were actually, the embassy arranged for us, for some Greek people from several countries in the Middle East to go to Saudi Arabia to the airport. But I think for safety, they sent a military plane, so not a
yeah,
commercial plane. It was really different from what ever I have seen.
yeah,
So it was, yeah, in the military plane, there are no real seats. You just sit next to each other in type of bench, I would say, with not
mhm,
real back or anything like that.
mhm.
Um, it doesn't have anything else. So it looks
No
like
belt.
no belts you have, but a very different belt also. I'm not
Okay,
used to, but you're very close to each other in a yeah empty space basically.
yeah.
It's
How
meant
many
for.
people were there in this
We
like
were
big belly of the airplane?
about 100. We were
Okay, all sitting next to each other on these
yeah very
benches or on the floor. Yeah.
not on the floor, no, on these benches that they have like next to each other. And yeah, it is very, very loud also, the plane. So they gave us earplugs, which were helping, but not really.
Yeah.
So it was really loud. And also, I guess because it's a slower plane, did also double the time. So did 7, 8 hours to go back to Greece.
Okay. With
And
this woo
yes,
noise.
time. And
Yeah.
also the climate in the plane was fluctuating. So it was warm, hot,
Really? Okay.
cold. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
Weird.
And
Not like a commercial plane at all.
yeah, and no bathroom probably. I mean, I don't
No,
know.
no bathroom. So they told us you have. I actually didn't ask. One other person asked. There's like a bucket or something, but
Okay.
nobody
Nobody there
actually wanted
to do
to
it. Yeah.
go. Everybody just sat there patiently waiting. Yeah, to just land to
Yeah.
Greece. Yeah.
Yeah. It must have been such a relief
Yes.
when you were on that plane. And I can imagine also as a collective experience, all of you had gone through this not very pleasant experience of finding yourself in a war zone and not knowing what to do, and then being together in an airplane that brings you back home must
Yes.
have been a very chilling feeling in a way. How was it then when you arrived back home?
Yeah, it was very overwhelming. Also, while we were flying, and also when we landed finally after all these hours, yes, a lot of people were crying. I mean, they were waiting for the families. It was really
Yeah,
very strong feelings after all this time that we actually managed to get out of there.
yeah. I mean, yeah, it's probably a long wait after how many days you said, 1 week of being stuck there and not knowing what's going to happen. And yeah,
Yeah.
so you've said that it sort of you still have not now. 1 week has gone by from this
Mm.
experience, but you're still feeling a bit shaken by it.
Yes, I'm still a bit stressed. I cannot sleep so good, but it's getting better over time.
Yeah,
When I landed in Greece and look at the sky, the first thing I thought was again, I don't know, the missiles. It was a very weird thing. I never
yeah,
thought of this ever again when I was in Greece.
yeah.
Now it's getting much better.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, again, I feel like we are very lucky to have never experienced war directly. But I can also imagine that being stuck in a place where you don't want to be stuck, you know, missiles flying over your head, that must be quite traumatic.
Yeah, and also the sound is very. I think the sound, looking at the sound, and also a lot of people in the other hotels closer to the city, they were also the whole building was shaking. So it is really, you cannot really relax at all when this is happening.
So it was not just the lights that you see on the sky, it was really like powerful noises.
The noise was the most thing, and in other
Really
areas, not where I was, luckily, but the other hotels that other Greek people were, it was also shaking the building, which is also very
crazy.
scary. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to share about this experience that we haven't talked about?
Um, I think no, I think I'm very happy I'm back.
Yeah, I'm also very happy you're back.
I
Yeah,
still need time to process all the things. I think I'm gonna discover a lot of things about people around me and myself.
yeah,
And I really hope this situation gets better and not
mhm,
worse.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I assume you have stayed in touch also with the people who've
Mhm.
experienced this, journey together.
Yes, so we are actually a group of very different people. It's like almost if you see it like some type of movie or something.
Yeah, yeah,
Everybody is really different from each other
yeah,
and
yeah,
from different parts of Greece, and for different reasons we're stuck
yeah.
there. But we still, yeah, we still talk. We have a common WhatsApp group and we talk.
Ah, that's really nice. Yeah, to because I can imagine that it's something that only you and the people who have experienced it can really get. You have this common framework of experience together. Did it change at all your way of seeing traveling, for instance?
Not yet, I think so. I don't have any fear of traveling. I have to travel actually next week for work.
Perfect. Okay, great.
Hope it's gonna be okay.
But in Europe, I imagine, yeah.
Europe, yes.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
want to. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not. I don't want to go to this area anymore. I think nobody wants to pass there right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, absolutely.
Stressful. But traveling far away, I still would like to do in the future.
Yeah, good. Well, thank you so much for sharing this experience, and hopefully, we'll reach a peace for everyone, because this is the most important thing. And yeah, thanks again a lot.
Thank you.